I am Ray, and everything changed when I stopped trying to feel good. You see, because we sometimes have this idea in our head that if we're not feeling good, something is wrong. But it is almost always our reaction to our experiences that cause all the problems, that are the reason we don't feel good. If you have such a strong desire to feel at peace, to feel joy, happiness, and love, whenever you don't feel those things, you will judge your experiences and say, my reality is not going the way I want it to at this moment, and therefore what is happening should not be happening, and so you suffer. But when you stop trying to feel good, and you just be as you are, accept all feelings and all experiences as they arise, then you will be at peace. You will be more happy. You will experience more love in your life, because you will stop falling into resistance and out of harmony with the flow of life. You see, the whole spiritual journey is about surrendering, accepting life, and allowing things to be as they are. But when you are caught up in all of your worldly desires, in this worldly character that we play, you are almost always in a constant state of resistance. And because this is such a limited state, living from ego, you have a very hard time forcing life to be the way you want it to be. And even if somehow you learn to force reality to bend to your will, it's just going to snap and slap you in the face. And whatever temporary satisfaction you find will soon be gone. And you will once again fall back into resistance and have more problems for you to deal with and more suffering. It's a never-ending cycle. You see, a lot of the time in the spiritual community, I know I experienced this, we kind of reject the worldliness, or we reject the darkness, and we think that it's always going to be love and light. And so when you experience something that is not love and light, well, then you will feel that something is wrong. But see, the most spiritual thing you can do is be whole. As Carl Jung once said, I'd rather be whole than good, because the highest truth is beyond the darkness and the light. It's beyond good and evil. It's beyond right and wrong. And so long as you are caught in judging your experiences, in judging yourself, in judging other people, you will never escape that cycle of resistance, because it is precisely our identification with our mind that is causing the resistance. It's all the stories and all the ideas and all of our beliefs about who we are and what we want and our identity in this life. This is what happened to me, and this shaped me into the character that I am today. That's all well and fine. But if you are attached to that identity, well then good luck to you, my friend. I'm not here to take away anybody's suffering if they don't want it. But if you want to be free from this circus, all of this suffering, all of this chaos and nonsense, then hear my words. If the center of your life is your identification with the ego, which means the person that I believe myself to be, identification with this body, or identification with my thoughts and my mind and my beliefs and the idea of who I am, if that is at the center of your life, then you are in trouble. And that applies to 98% of the world's population. Because who we are is always changing. And so when we build the foundation of our life on that which is always changing, when the storms of life come, we will be swept away. We will not find ourselves on solid ground. But when you awaken to the true nature of what you are as the eternal, or if that's too much for you, you can just rely on God. Because God is eternal. What you are is eternal. Just find the eternal. The eternal is within you. The outer world is changing and temporary. As you go deeper within, it is more unchanging and more eternal. Those who seek themselves will find God, and those who seek God will find themselves. Because at the core essence of what you are, they are the same. You are the divine essence of God. But not everybody is able to accept that, because we feel so viscerally that no, I am my body. I am this character. I am this person I believe myself to be because I've lived on this earth for so long. This is what I have experienced. This is what I know to be true, and I believe it with 100% certainty. But I say to you, what good are your senses if they have led you astray? If they have led you into suffering? What good do your beliefs do when they cannot sustain you through the trials and tribulations of life? Beliefs are always changing. All that is required is for you to receive one piece of information for the entire foundation of your life, for everything you've ever believed to be true to be instantly dissolved. So what good are your beliefs? The beliefs, the identities, the stories, always changing, never reliable. And if you'd like to keep those things, well, then you also get to keep your suffering. And if you would like to surrender these things, well, then you will receive that which you have been looking for this whole time. The problem is that the ego's very nature is about power and control. And to surrender means death for the ego. So on this spiritual journey, you will have this force working within you that is constantly trying to sabotage your spiritual success. Because your spiritual success means death for the person you believe yourself to be. And that ego thing is living, and it does not want to die, and it feeds off your energy. It is like a parasite, that which I call the monster mind. It is the negative force in our life that keeps us in fear, in worry, in shame and guilt and negativity, so it can feed off of our life force. And nobody realizes that it's there, because the monster mind gets you to believe that you are in control. That's why you see that the ego is stubborn. People who are attached to their ego are also attached to their beliefs. And whenever you criticize their beliefs, you are in truth criticizing them. That is why people get emotional. That is why people attack you. That is why people throw personal insults towards you when you're trying to have an argument or a discussion. That is how you know someone is attached to their ego. In fact, how you may know that if you are attached to your ego is the amount of resistance that you experience on a daily basis. The more mind, the more resistance. The less mind, the less resistance. And the more you enter into harmony with the flow of life. Because resistance and flow are two opposite energies. The more resistance, the less flow. The less resistance, the more flow. And it is precisely this inability to fully allow the flow of life through you that causes all of our problems and our misery. Because life, the light, and harmony, these are one in the same. And the more you are separated from these things through the resistance of the mind, as you stray from harmony, you enter into disharmony. As you stray from the light, you enter into darkness. And as you stray from life, you enter into death. And life, harmony, peace, love, and joy, all the things that you could have ever desired in this life, even the abundance, it can only be experienced in this present moment. And the mind constantly pulls you out of the present moment to judge the past, the future, and your current experiences. The more you think about the past and the future, the more you will suffer. Now, it's a much different story if you can be detached from the past, from the future, from your current experiences. Because then you can observe without these things pulling you into them. You don't get entangled, and therefore you don't suffer. So I'm not saying you can never reflect on the past, you can never think about the future. I enjoy thinking about the future. It doesn't mean that you have to get rid of your thoughts or even kill your ego. You just have to stop allowing it to be the center of your life. Because so long as the ego is the center of your life, you will be a slave to many, many things. To all of your desires, to all of the things you wish to avoid, to the system that you live in, to the people around you. And that suffering never ends. But once you realize that you are not your ego, that you are much greater than this, well then all of your worldly problems begin to dissolve away. Because what you are in truth has no problems. Because you are the very source of harmony itself. You are the very source of love. You are the very source of peace. And you are the very source of abundance. There is no such thing as lack in this universe. It is only our own illusions that keep us from the truth. And it is in the recognition of the truth about what you are that will save you, cure you of your worldly problems. Does this mean that suddenly all of your worldly problems will go away in an instant? No, it means that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. If you choose to look at problems, you will experience problems. But as you enter into harmony, as you connect deeper with yourself, you will recognize that everything is perfect. That every single thing that you go through in this life is designed specifically for you, for your highest spiritual growth. And that God, at the end of the day, doesn't care about your silly little ego. Because the ego is an illusion anyway. It has no existence. We believe it into existence. Because if you spent 3 minutes closing your eyes and trying to find the person you believe yourself to be, what do you find? I am Ray. Please reach out if you have any questions. Much peace and many blessings.